I'm Greg, sailor, bagpiper, and jack of all trades. Another day down here in the shop. I'm heading outside shortly to continue the repairs on the decks of the Bristol 32. Gotta finish sanding down and then hopefully getting to the point where we're just putting filler in to bring everything up and make it level and flush so we can get ready for painting. So let's go out and see what we can do. Well, the sun is really bright today. Means it's a great day out here on the boat. So here is the first repair. And that, beautiful. Just got to sand the top down a little bit. There's a little bit of a depression, so we'll have to do a second batch. But this is perfectly smooth, feels good. A little bit of sanding, touch up paint, we'll be good to go. Oh, darn. I see a little ding up here, which I hadn't noticed before. We'll have to fix that one. All right, let me go grab a sanding block and we'll get this one cleaned up. Well, getting closer. So that little depression there needs to be filled. A couple of little air bubbles here, but in general that looks pretty darn good. Well, let's move aft to the next repair. Now, here's the next one. Moving down the port side of the hull. Looks like there's a little dimple there that needs to be fixed. But that one looks pretty good. That one looks pretty darn good. I'm gonna have to come out here and sand this one, and then we're just gonna start laying up more cloth on top of this whole thing. But again, rock solid now, no flex, which there was a little bit before. So we'll sand this down to get it smooth. You know, I don't like these little dimples and hollows because the glass can't go down in there. So I'll grind it back and get it all fair, and then we can start laying up in this one. All right, I think now we got to move all the way back to the stern. So I didn't really tape this corner up because the crack wasn't that big. I mean, the divot wasn't that big. And we can see the epoxy oozed down a little bit. That actually looks pretty good. Just a little bit more, and that one will be perfect. This is all going to be just touched up right now with paint. Next year, I'm going to sand the entire hull and redo the whole hull. But for this season, I'm just trying to fix the holes, touch them up, and then get the boat in the water. Okay, this chip went down a little bit deeper and the tape was in too tight, so the repair didn't go all the way down in. So I've got to do a little more work on this one, but in general that looks pretty good. Let's take a look at this one here. I think I'm rocking the whole boat. Oh, that one looks beautiful. Little bit of a ding here that didn't quite get filled in. But I think this batch of thickened epoxy is just really going to be fairing, and I'll be putting it all on with just a squeegee. You know, I knew I could figure that word out if I tried long enough. Now this corner, well, I like that. A little bit of filler at the top. That'll be done. Nice fair curve there. All right, so that is all the repairs. Other than we have this one up here. These little ones down here on the cabin house.
That one needs a little bit more and that'll be done. Where else did I do repair work? So, these arrived. Nice flap sanding pads for darn. So that can come off. See if I can find that piece I just dropped. Oh, that was relatively easy. Okay, so I have 40 grit, 60 grit, 80 grit, 120 grit. I think at this point I am going to start with the 120 grit. Good. Actually, I think the housing or the shield would fit over those. That'll help keep some of the dust away from me. Although, no, but then I can't get down. So this will allow me to get flatter on the deck. And when the shield was on, it protruded down here, so I wouldn't be able to get as flat. I would have been much more of an angle. So I like this better. All right, let me get suited up and we'll go start sanding away all of those other areas. I can even put my respirator on over my eyeglasses. If I fold everything back, see all the straps are out, and then I press it over my eyeglasses and then pull the straps up. So I'm going to do this, turn the camera off, we'll go back out and start grinding away the things that need to be cleaned up, and then we can do the last coat of epoxy for the day. And I can still see what I'm doing, sort of. So I just went around with the shop vac and vacuumed up everything. I did sand this little spot down, needs a little bit more filler. I think what I'm going to do right now is mix up some epoxy and thick and filler and just fill in some of these low spots, because I didn't want to grind that far down. So if I fair these all up to be somewhat level and smooth, then I can start laying cloth on top of them. And then I can also, with the thickened epoxy, fill this little ding, fill that little hollow spot in. I can just go around and touch up all of these small repairs and get those all fixed up and done. And then, you know, we'll be finished with the little repair work, and then it'll just be doing the layup on the starboard side, the port side, and the starboard forward. So a little bit of a thickened epoxy, fill in some of the divots and dings, and then we'll be able to come back and start doing the layups. Now, it's a lot warmer today than it was yesterday, so I am concerned about pot life. So instead of 4 pumps, I think I'm only going to do 2 pumps, and we'll do 2 batches rather than one big one. And we'll see how much we get done with one batch, and then, well, we may make a second batch to just finish things up, but I would rather do it twice than to have the epoxy kick on me halfway through the project. That would be a real pain in the neck. So we can see a little bit here that needs to be filled. A teeny bit here. There's a couple of little dings there that I'll work on. Yep. And then coming over here on this side, just filling in some of these little holes. I'm just going to scrape off a little epoxy. Here we wanted to fill this void. I think that's this area all done. Now let's keep moving our way forward. Well, I did the repairs on the bow. They were smaller, and it wasn't that easy for me to get up there. And hold the camera. Okay, I think that's all filled and fair, ready for cloth. Just touching up that little spot. Just want to fill in some of the biggest cracks, and that way my cloth will lay down much better. All right, well, that's noontime today. I am going to go in, take a quick shower, have lunch. I think we'll let all this epoxy kick. In this bright, hot sun, it should be kicking pretty darn fast. Unfortunately for my getting more videos done and working on the boat, I've got a tea time this afternoon. So I'm going to go out and play golf with a couple of buddies and then come back, and maybe this afternoon when we get back around 5 o'clock or so, do a quick sanding and see how we look, and possibly lay up, because at this point we've leveled and filled everything and filled in all of the dings around the outside of the hull. So I think those are all done, and we'll just sand those down and we'll be good to go. And then the 3 patches on the deck, we'll just sand those down. They should be pretty fair, and then we can start laying up cloth and just wrap up that project. So hopefully this weekend we can start sanding and painting the decks. Oh, boy, a lot to do. Good morning. Well, I knew my good luck wasn't going to last forever. I just saw the weather forecast, and chance of showers later today, chance of showers Saturday, chance of showers Sunday, and next week, boy, looks like it's going to be a lot of rain. So I'm going to crank it out this morning. It's Friday morning. Try to get one more coat of, I'm going to sand everything down, and then one more coat of fiberglass, and see whether that'll be the end of it. I'm hoping that I can, put all the glass on and build everything up to the point where I can do a quick sanding and then fairing compound and be done with the glass work, and then we can start sanding and prepping for paint. So, see what we can get done this morning. That's done. Holy mackerel. These Tyvek suits do not breathe very well, and they get hot. And now I have a couple of new ones that I just ordered, so I'm throwing this one away. I mean, it is just shredded. I do like that one because it has boots in addition to the hood, but the new ones that I have don't have boots, so my shoes get a little bit dirty. That's why I'm wearing work shoes. So now I'm going to cut the fiberglass cloth, and then we'll mix up the epoxy and start doing the layup. Well, it's hot out here, and I was really under the gun to get everything done quickly. So I wasn't moving the camera around. I had to do a minor repair job on the stern of my motorboat, so got that laid up, and that's almost completely kicked. Going up onto the deck, this layup may need a little bit more, or maybe just some filler. I'm not completely sure. This one I think is done. Little sanding and filler, and that will be 100% finished. And then this one over here, same thing. It's all laid up. It's got about 6 layers of glass. And this one wasn't that bad to begin with. It's just some repair, the first repair someone had done, the second repair that someone had done on top of the gel coat, which didn't cure, so I peeled that off, ground it down, and then redid it. Everything else, all of the other repairs, that just needs to be sanded down a little bit. On either side of the traveler block, that needs to be sanded down. This one's all sanded down and cleaned up. That one needs to be sanded just a little bit, and this stern corner needs to be sanded just a little bit also. So I'll grab my sandpaper, get those done. By the time, hopefully by the time I'm done, you know, touching up the little pieces of the rail that needed to be sanded, the stern of my boat will have kicked completely, and I can sand that down, put a coat of paint on it, and, you know, maybe hit water. So we'll see what happens with that. Be nice to get that boat out of the yard and make room for the next one. The next boat after the motorboat goes is the cat boat, way over in the corner. That one racing starts in 3 weeks, so I have 2 weekends to get that one ready for the water. The motorboat didn't need to have the bottom painted, but the cat boat does. So when I get the cat boat on the trailer, I'll show that process. And then I'm going to sand the bottom of the cat boat, and at the same time I'm going to sand the bottom of Slow Air. And when I start painting bottoms, I'll just do both bottoms at the same time. So this boat will be one step closer to water. So that's it. I think I'm done working on Slow Air for a while, especially since the weather is going to go nasty. So thank you for watching. Please hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe so that you get updates whenever new videos come out. Thank you very much for following Slow Air.